I have the distinct opportunity and privilege to introduce a family member of Ralph. It happens to be Ralph Jr., his son, who's a friend and colleague of mine over the years. And Ralph chose to take his passion and determination north and fight for in-stream flow issues in New England. And we welcome him and his wife and Ralph's grandson here today, Jeremy, who are going to join us and tell us a little bit about some of the family history. And I would ask you to join me in greeting Ralph Jr. to the podium. Dennis Geis also mentioned that the bound straight talk editions of Ralph's columns are out of print, but we have 3 left, Ralph. And what I'd like to do is present them to the family for your archives.
Thank you. Great.
And leave those 2 there. They're the only thing they're holding up.
I don't have big pockets. So I guess there's an old Mark Twain adage that be careful about telling fish stories, especially where the people know the fish. I'm not going to try to outlive any of the stories here, but I guess the first thing I want to say is just a huge thank you to the Historic Commission, the Fish and Boat Commission, and the Scholarship Fund for putting this together. I mean, it's hard to describe what it's like to sit here and watch your dad's pictures go by. And a lot of what he did, I wasn't here. I was up in New England trying to cause trouble on my own up there. And I hear stories, and it's really, I think, special to have my son here, who was about 7 or 8 when Dad passed on, and he's heard me go on and on and on. But when you have a second or third person say that, it really means a lot. So from the family point of view, I really appreciate that. And I've been lucky enough to work in this business for a long time, a little bit more behind the scenes than my father, but he always counseled me to, unless you were head of an independent agency, to be careful which swords you fell on. And I've been trying to dodge those swords for a long time, but the spirit is still there, and it's hard to get by the genes. But I guess what is really special about this marker for me is that it keeps the message of resource protection alive. And on June 1st, we had our first granddaughter, who would be Ralph's first great-granddaughter. And I was along the Susquehanna today, not the Susquehanna, the Schuylkill, watching my son sit in a boat go backwards, which as a kayaker, he and I have had issues about that for years. But he tells me it's a faster way to go to row than paddle. But every time I go down to watch him do that, I look across the river and I see the dam at Fairmont Park, and I think of the old picture that Dad sent me of Milton Shaft, the governor at the time. This was on the sign on the dam, and then it had a guy named Ralph Abele, executive director, and in the smaller font was somebody named Frank Rizzo. And I guess Mayor Rizzo, one, didn't want the dam built, and once he got over that, or maybe was told to do that, he wanted to know who the hell this Abele was, whose name was ahead of his. And if you read further down the sign, you'd realize it was put together by the Fish Commission, so it made a lot of sense that Dad's name was up there higher. But I guess I'll tell one story and stop, and that is that growing up, we didn't have a lot of fancy vacations. And Dad's idea of fun was to load us all into the station wagon and drive up to Potter County to the New Bethlehem Rod and Gun Club, which is on beautiful land. And when you're 8 to 14, whatever I was in those years, you left all your friends behind, and I'd mow a little baseball diamond in the front yard and play baseball by myself. But we had lots of great nature hikes and so on and so forth. But he loved it, and that's what we did. But one day we were driving up, and we got behind a motorcycle gang, and they were drinking beer, and they're flipping the beer cans, out on the highway when they're done drinking. And Dad revs the car up, and he kind of pulls up in front of them, and I'm thinking, it's the last I'm ever going to see my father. I mean, he didn't eat as many groceries as I did, and my son, he's not a huge person, but he went up there and gave those guys a lecture. He came back and obviously lived beyond that. And I said, wow, that guy's got some guts. And this was before he went to work, full time. But he just really believed in simple things like, no littering and stuff like that. But again, I don't want to take up a lot of time here today, just to say that I'm the family, on behalf of the family and his 3 grandsons who aren't here, and his daughter, And my late mother, who I think actually enabled Dad to get away from a lot of stuff. And she really kept the fort together. He did learn to cook after he retired, but she really held things together, looked after the kids, and enabled him to do a lot of the stuff that he really believed in. But I'm just tickled, and to know that my young granddaughter will be able to come up here and take a look at this, and hopefully many other people through the Abele legacy that Dennis and Wayne and others are doing. I mean, I'm speechless, and I thank you all, and on behalf of the